A software engineer making $240,000 just told me he is completely stressed out about money.
Oh, wow.
Right. And his neighbor, who's a teacher making like $72,000, well, he just paid cash for a full kitchen renovation.
In the exact same city.
Same city, different drug.
That is, yeah, that perfectly captures it. It really is a drug.
It is. Welcome to our deep dive. Our mission today is to, sift through the best insights from behavioral finance and psychology to figure out why we spend our money the way we do. We're pulling from a huge stack of research today, books like The Status Game by Will Storr, Luxury Fever by Robert H. Frank.
Book Zero's in there, too.
Yeah, Die with Zero by Bill Perkins, and Stumbling on Happiness by Daniel Gilbert. Yeah. You want to understand why these purchases rarely bring us the joy we actually expect.
Because the angle we're exploring today is, well, it's pretty contrarian. Status spending is basically the single biggest invisible drain in modern personal finance.
Yeah.
We justify these massive expenses by calling them, lifestyle upgrades, the luxury car, the sprawling house.
The designer clothes.
Right. But if we strip away the rationalizations, most of those aren't actually about lifestyle comfort. They're status payments dressed up.
Status payments. I like that phrasing.
Yeah, there's a tax we pay to signal our rank.
Yeah.
Because true wealth, it isn't about accumulating stuff. It's about freedom from comparison.
Okay, let's unpack this because I want to play devil's advocate right out of the gate here.
Go for it.
Isn't spending money on status actually like a highly rational move? I mean, if you look at Will Storr's research on status psychology, he points out that humans are basically cooperative apes.
We definitely are.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not these independent, solitary operators. Our brains come pre-installed with this subconscious status detection system. We're constantly scanning the room to figure out where we rank.
Subconsciously, yeah, all the time.
And historically, rank mattered. High status meant you got the safest sleeping sites, the most calorie-dense food.
Better access to mates?
Exactly. So buying the flashy car to show off your success, it isn't necessarily just shallow vanity. From an evolutionary standpoint, it's survival software. It's a signal to the tribe that you matter.
And Storr makes a very compelling case for that. Status is a profound biological need. It's not just a superficial want.
Rest there's always that.
Right. But taking an evolutionary advantage and applying it to modern consumerism creates a trap. The economist Robert Frank describes this perfectly. He calls it a phenomenon that is smart for one, dumb for all.
Smart for one, dumb for all.
Yeah, so it's entirely rational for an individual to want to signal their fitness. The problem emerges when every single member of the group adopts the exact same strategy. Frank illustrates this with the male elk.
Oh, the arms race for the biggest antlers.
Exactly. So for a solitary male elk, having an enormous set of antlers is an incredible advantage. It signals physical dominance, scares off rivals, gets the mate. Pure relative status. But because every single male elk in the forest is competing for that same relative status, natural selection triggers this biological arms race.
Right, they just keep getting bigger.
Generation after generation, the antlers grow larger and heavier. But eventually, those massive antlers make the entire herd slower, clumsier, and far more likely to get caught in the branches when fleeing from wolves.
So what started as an advantage just becomes a huge liability for everyone.
Exactly, a collective liability.
So if we translate that elk analogy into, our lives today, the modern antlers are, well, it's watch culture. It's a $20,000 wristwatch.
A perfect example.
Because a Cartier watch signals a very specific status to the professional tribe, right? A $20 Casio watch does not. But the irony is they both perform the exact same function.
They both just tell the time.
Right. But when everyone in your peer group is playing this escalating game, buying the luxury watch, moving into the expensive school districts, nobody actually gains any relative rank.
You're all just matching each other's bets.
Exactly. You end up treading water, but everyone is burning through their absolute resources to do it. You're just a herd of heavily indebted elk moving much slower through the economic woods.
Highly vulnerable to the next recession.
Exactly.
And that herd mentality completely blinds us to the inefficiency of the spending. But there's a deeper cognitive blind spot at play here, too. It's the reason we eagerly take on the burden of those massive modern antlers in the first place.
Because we fully believe they're going to make us happy.
Right.
Which I've always wondered about the decay of that thrill. Like, why does the euphoria of the brand new Cartier watch or the massive 10,000 square foot house fade so fast?
It's so fast.
You sign the papers, you bring it home, you're on top of the world for like a week, and then it's just your wrist. Or it's just a hallway you have to vacuum.
The cognitive mechanism driving that disappointment is known as hedonic adaptation. And it's coupled with something called impact bias.
Impact bias, okay.
Yeah, psychologist Daniel Gilbert has done phenomenal research on this. Our prefrontal cortex allows us to simulate the future, which is a marvel of evolution. We can imagine scenarios before they happen.
Right.
But it turns out our brain is a terrible, highly biased simulator.
Really? How so?
Well, when we predict how a future purchase will make us feel, we accurately predict the direction of our emotion, like, yes, a new house will feel good, but we vastly overestimate the intensity and the duration of that happiness.
Oh, so we're basically watching a highly edited movie trailer of our own future.
That is a great way to put it.
And the brain just conveniently leaves out all the boring scenes. Like, Gilbert notes how the brain does this filling-in trick. We imagine the glamorous dinner parties we'll host in the new house.
The pride of pulling into the driveway.
Right. But we completely omit the mundane realities, the anxiety of the property tax bill, the weekend spent cleaning the gutters.
Or just the simple fact that after a month, walking through the front door feels entirely normal.
Yeah, it just becomes the baseline.
It becomes the new baseline. And this puts us on a relentless hedonic treadmill. Every time you upgrade your lifestyle, your psychological baseline resets to match it.
Which is just brutal.
It is. One of the cruelest truths of human psychology is that wonderful things lose their wonderfulness with repetition.
Wow. Wonderful things lose their wonderfulness.
Yeah. When your income doubles and you buy the nicer car and the better clothes, those past luxuries very quickly morph into absolute necessities. This is the root cause of lifestyle creep.
Right. You feel like you haven't made any financial progress at all despite earning significantly more because your baseline for contentment moved right alongside your bank account.
Exactly. But lifestyle creep doesn't happen in a vacuum. We aren't just adapting to our own isolated wealth.
No, we're constantly adjusting our baseline to match the people around us.
Because we measure our success relatively, not absolutely. And this requires understanding the difference between absolute goods and positional goods.
Okay, break that down for me.
So, absolute goods provide objective value, regardless of what anyone else is doing. A reliable car that gets you to the office without breaking down, that's an absolute good.
It just does its job.
But positional goods derive their value entirely from the hierarchy. The joy of a positional good comes from having something better than the guy parked next to you.
So it's not about the transportation. It's about the social dominance of the badge on the hood.
Precisely.
You know, financial writer Morgan Housel shared a brilliant anecdote about this from his early 20s. He was working as a valet at a high-end hotel in Los Angeles.
Oh, I love this story.
It's so good. Every day, people would pull up in Ferraris, Lamborghinis, you know, these brand new German car leases. And initially, he assumed these drivers were the wealthiest, most successful titans of industry.
Sure, you'd think so.
But as he got to know the regulars, the illusion shattered. He realized a significant portion of them were actually mediocre earners.
Just normal people.
Normal people dropping like 50% of their monthly take-home pay on a massive exotic car lease. They were projecting an image of extreme wealth while internally living on the razor's edge of insolvency.
Just terrified of a single missed paycheck.
Exactly.
Terrified.
And that valet story perfectly captures the danger of positional games. What's fascinating here is how our arena for comparison has expanded. Like, if you look back at the 1950s, many Americans view it as a golden economic age of middle-class prosperity.
Oh, definitely. The classic American dream.
Right. Yet, by almost any objective, absolute measure, the square footage of homes, medical advancements, purchasing power, modern earners are exponentially better off today.
So why do we feel so broke compared to a suburban family from 1955? I mean, if our absolute goods are so much better, why is modern anxiety so incredibly high?
Because the concept of the neighborhood has fundamentally changed. In the 1950s, you judged your success by looking over the physical fence.
Right, just the neighbors. Yeah. If your neighbor had a modest 3-bedroom house and a Ford, and you had the same, you felt incredibly successful. You had achieved the baseline.
But today,
your neighborhood is digital. Your neighborhood is Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. You are no longer comparing yourself to the family next door.
you're comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to the highly curated, filter-enhanced highlight reels of billionaires and celebrities.
Exactly. Expectations have inflated far faster than reality. The people you watch online are literally pricing you out of your own life.
Wow. Pricing you out of your own life, because the baseline for what appears normal on a screen is actually statistically elite.
It's the top 1% being presented as the average.
So let's draw a critical distinction for the listener here. There is a massive difference between being rich and having wealth.
A huge difference.
Being rich is a measure of current income. It means you have enough cash flowing in right now to cover the massive lease on the Ferrari and the mortgage on the sprawling architectural home.
Rich is loud.
Rich is very loud. It demands to be seen. But having wealth is defined by exactly what you don't see.
Right.
Wealth is the money that hasn't been converted into stuff. It's the boring index funds. It's the lack of debt. It's the invisible safety net that gives you options and lets you sleep soundly.
And transitioning from rich to wealthy requires abandoning that visible consumption game. But that is incredibly difficult because, as we established, the drive for status is biologically hardwired.
Well, let me challenge that for a second. If it's just biology, can't we use our higher reasoning to simply opt out? Like, can't we just refuse to play the status game entirely?
People have tried.
Yeah, Will Storr's research looks at this. He points to the hikikomori in Japan.
Right, the shut-ins.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of young people who find society's hyper-competitive status hierarchies so overwhelming that they completely withdraw. They lock themselves in their bedrooms, refuse to work, and use video games as a proxy reality.
Where they can achieve digital status instead.
Exactly. But the tragic result is profound isolation, and many end up dying entirely alone. Or on a societal level, look at communist regimes throughout the 20th century.
That's a great example.
They violently attempted to flatten society and eliminate status entirely by declaring everyone a comrade of equal standing. But human nature just built back doors.
Yep.
The Soviet system quickly developed the nomenclatura, the hidden elite, who had exclusive access to special grocery stores, private hospitals, and country dachas. The hierarchy didn't disappear at all.
It just went underground.
It just went underground, so we can't escape it.
No, those examples prove that escaping the human need for status is a delusion. You cannot flip a switch and turn off a million years of ape evolution.
Yeah.
Storr highlights this inescapable reality with the gripping story of Ben Gunn. He was the longest-serving prisoner in the UK.
Oh, the prison lawyer story.
Right. So Gunn went into the prison system as a teenager. Over the span of 3 decades inside, he painstakingly taught himself the law. He became the ultimate prison lawyer. Wow. He was the guy every other inmate and even some guards went to for legal help and strategy. Inside those walls, his status was immense. He was a revered intellectual.
He had basically built a kingdom in a very dark place.
He really had. And eventually, a visiting teacher fell in love with him. She offered him a pathway to an idyllic life on the outside. The deal was simple. Keep his head down, show good behavior for a year to secure his parole, and he could live out his days with her in a beautiful, cozy cottage in the Cotswolds.
Which sounds like a dream.
It does.
Yeah.
But as the parole date approached, Gunn couldn't go through with it.
Wait, really?
Yeah. He deliberately sabotaged his own release. He turned down freedom and love because he realized a terrifying truth. Outside those prison walls, he wouldn't be the brilliant, respected legal mind.
Oh, man. He'd just be an unemployed, middle-aged ex-convict.
A nobody. The biological terror of losing his high rank drove him to choose a literal prison cage where he had status over freedom where he had none.
That is a staggering reality check. He chose the cage because he was the king of it. So, if we can't escape the psychological need for status, how do we stop it from bankrupting us? How do we avoid the Richard Feastone fate, the executive who went bankrupt?
Well, the answer isn't monastic poverty or pretending you don't care what people think. The strategy is stealth wealth.
Stealth wealth.
And stealth wealth isn't about forced humility. It is pure pragmatic math.
Math. How so?
It's recognizing that you cannot win the visible consumption game because the goalposts will always move. So you consciously choose to play a different game.
Right.
You find your status in an internal scorecard. You derive your rank from mastering your craft, from being deeply present with your family, or from the quiet, private knowledge that you could walk away from your job tomorrow if you truly wanted to.
Which brings up the most vital question of all. If you stop spending your income on visible status symbols, if you refuse to buy the bigger antlers, what are you supposed to do with your resources?
Right. What does wealth actually buy you that matters?
Yeah, what is the ultimate point of the unspent money? We aren't just hoarding it like dragons on a pile of gold.
No, definitely not. To answer that, we turn to the philosophy of Bill Perkins in his book Die with Zero.
I love this concept.
It's so good. Perkins argues that traditional conservative retirement planning is deeply flawed because it hyper-focuses on accumulating a massive pile of money while entirely ignoring the biological reality of the two other non-renewable resources you possess.
Time and health.
Exactly. Time and health.
It's a triangle. Time, health, and money. And they almost never peak at the same time.
That's the tragedy of the traditional path.
Yeah.
Think about it. When you're 20, you have abundant time and robust health, but you are broke.
Yep.
In your middle age, you finally have some money and decent health, but your career and mortgage rob you of all your time.
Right.
And when you finally hit traditional retirement at 70, you have abundant time and a massive portfolio of money, but your physical health is in severe decline.
So Perkins argues that true wealth means optimizing the intersection of those three resources throughout your entire life.
Yes. It is foolish to blindly defer all your gratification until your 70s. By the time you finally have the liquid wealth to trek through Patagonia or ski the Alps, your knees might literally prevent you from doing it.
So the goal is to spend your money just not on positional status goods. You spend it on experiences.
Exactly.
Perkins calls these memory dividends, which is just a brilliant mental model. Just like a stock portfolio pays a financial dividend that compounds over time, a powerful experience pays a memory dividend.
It compounds happiness.
Right. If you take that incredible immersive trip with your kids when they're 10 years old, you don't just get the joy of the 7 days on the road, you get decades of remembering that trip.
The inside jokes.
The stories at Thanksgiving, the deep bonding, that happiness compounds over the rest of your life. If you wait to take that trip until they're 35 and you're 70, you have permanently missed out on decades of compounding joy.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, memory dividends are powerful. But there is one final dividend that trumps them all.
Okay, what's that?
The ultimate purpose of wealth isn't just creating memories, it is securing autonomy. That is the true freedom dividend.
The freedom dividend. I like that.
True wealth buys you the unassailable freedom to govern your own existence. It's the ability to take a significantly lower paying job simply because the work is deeply meaningful to you.
Or the ability to buy a much smaller, older house that happens to be 10 minutes from your office, buying back 2 hours of your life every single day.
Exactly. Or it is the quiet, unbreakable confidence of watching a severe economic recession hit the news without feeling a spike of panic in your chest. Autonomy is the ultimate flex.
It really is. When you really analyze it, having total unilateral control over your Tuesday morning is far more of a flex than driving a leased Ferrari to a job you despise on a Tuesday morning.
Oh, without a doubt. And autonomy breaks you out of the cycle of hedonic adaptation.
Oh, how so?
Well, while our brains quickly adapt to the thrill of a new car or a bigger kitchen, making them feel normal within months, the research is very clear on this. We do not adapt to a lack of autonomy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We never get used to a terrible soul-crushing commute. We never get used to a toxic boss.
That makes so much sense.
Right. Using your wealth to eliminate those negatives and buy back your time provides a lasting, permanent baseline of contentment that material goods simply cannot replicate.
We have covered incredible ground today. I mean, we've looked at the evolutionary trap of the status game, the biological treadmill of effective forecasting.
How Instagram warped our neighborhood baseline.
Yeah, and how stealth wealth and the freedom dividend offer an actual escape route. Now, here's how you, the listener, can actually apply this math to your life today. I have a challenge for you.
A status audit.
Sometime this week, sit down and conduct a personal status audit. Pull up your recent bank or credit card statements and list the last 5 purchases you made that were over $200.
Okay.
Now, look at those 5 items and ask yourself a brutally honest question. Which of those purchases would you still have made if you were the only person on Earth? Or if absolutely no one else would ever see them or know you owned them?
That's a tough question.
It is. The gap between the items you bought for yourself and the items you bought for the invisible audience. That is your personal status tax.
That is the invisible drain funding the arms race.
Exactly.
And identifying that tax is the very first step to reclaiming your autonomy, which actually leads perfectly into our next deep dive.
Oh, yes.
Next time, we're going to tackle the psychology of enough. We're going to explore exactly why high-earning professionals frequently never feel rich, no matter how high their income climbs. And we'll reveal the one crucial cognitive shift that fixes that endless pursuit.
I can't wait to tear into that one. But before we go, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Think about the immense amount of money, time, and emotional energy we spend trying to signal our success to the tribe.
It's exhausting.
We buy the watch, we renovate the kitchen, we lease the car, all to project a specific image. But what if the ultimate freedom is realizing a harsh but liberating truth? The people you are so desperately trying to impress well, they are far too obsessed with their own status and their own insecurities to even notice yours.
That's so true.
Ronald Reed, the janitor with $8 million, he understood that. And Richard Fiscone, the bankrupt executive, forgot it. The question is, which drug are you paying for?